Hi Mathies, it is Michelle here with MathDoctor.org. Unless you're one of my students, then it is Ms. Ehrig to you, and you know that. All right, let's look at our next 6th grade SBAC type question. All right, first we're going to read it, then we're going to read it again, and we're going to underline important information, maybe draw a diagram, and then we'll work on solving it. If you take your time and try to do these things, you will most likely perform better. Math modeling, perseverance, pushing yourself through is really, really key to being successful in math. So let's look at this. The average car on I-95 drives 260 miles in 4 hours. How many miles does the average car travel in 1 hour? Now, if you don't know, I-95 is a major highway. It actually is on the eastern seaboard. Different other smaller highways help it out, but in essence, you can go all the way from Maine to Florida, go through 16 different states. It's about over 1,900 miles long if you go coast to or top to bottom. All right, but let's look at this problem and get the information out. So the average car on I-95 drives 260 miles in 4 hours. How many miles does the average car travel in 1 hour? Well, let's look. Because it tells us miles and hours, and it says hours again, I know I'm going to set up a proportion. I'm going to try to see how things are equivalent. So here's my little car. I'm sure your picture is a little bit better. This almost looks like a pickup truck, okay? From point A to point B is 260 miles. And we know that to get from here, 4 hours passed. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it. If you don't know the way to set up the proportion, this is how you can do it. And this is why a diagram is so important. We know the whole length is 260 miles and the whole length is 4 hours. Well, if I divide it in half, now I know I have 2 hours, right? This section is 2 and this section is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So if I do that, because math, everything has to be balanced. So if I divided these into 2 sections, that means that this part right here is going to be half of 260. So 260 divided by 2 is going to get me 130. So now I know that in 4 hours, I drove 260 miles, but I did 4 divided by 2, and that means I actually drove 130 miles in 2 hours on average. But I want to try to get to 1 hour. So I'm going to break this baby up again and divide 2 by 2. And there's my magic 1 I want. But remember, math is about balance. So if I divide the 4 hours by 2 to get 2 and divide that by 2 again to get 1, I have to take this 130 and divide that again. Why? Math is balance. So 130 divided by 2 gives me 65. So right around there, there's my answer. How many miles does the average car travel in 1 hour? 65 miles an hour, because I know each one of these sections has to be 65 on average. Now that's one way to do it, okay? I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. Let's say instead of breaking up in parts like that, here's our pickup truck. I guess I like trucks today. Here, we still have our path. We still know it's 4 hours. And we know that this entire distance is 260 miles. Another way to think of it is, well, 260 miles is 4. I'm trying to get from 4 to 1. Well, how do I get from 4 to 1? 4 something 4. What do I have to put here? Ooh, I miswrote. Try again. 4, and then I'm going to do something to it to get to 1. Well, how can I get to 1? There's 2 ways. First, we know I can divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is going to get me 1. Or, if you're a person who likes fractions, you know that you could do 4 times 1/4. Because if you do that, if we have $4, well, 1/4 of $4 is $1. So if we do that now, I can take these up here, still break it up, but do 260 divided by 4. And I can do my 260 times 1/4. Either way, if you're a fraction person, do the fraction way. If you're the division way, you can do it that way. Let's just really quick figure that out. I need to figure out how to not have my screensaver keep coming on and freezing everything up. I'm going to still keep working. You'll see it when it comes up. 4 can't go into 2. 4 goes into 26. 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract. And there's my 65. So, ooh, 650. I don't know what I was thinking there. So there's our 65. So those are 2 ways to use modeling to help us get our answer. Let me show you the last way to do this. Okay, the last way is to set up a proportion. We again remember there was 260 miles in 4 hours. Well, we're trying to get to 1 hour. So we're trying to think of how many miles to get there. So here's our 260 over 4 hours equals how many miles over 1 hour. Now we just set up the proportion and we cross multiply. 4x equals 260. Divide both sides by 4. And then we get our 65 again. All right, so all in all, here's 3 completely different ways to solve this type of problem. Again, look how much faster we did it just by drawing a picture. Sometimes drawing a picture really does make the difference. I encourage you to do that. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you on this one. Keep working, keep doing math. You're awesome, mathies. Believe in you. We got this. Ciao.